it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find the content useful, helpful, insightful, enjoyable in any way, shape or form, or just want to give this channel some love. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. If you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity book. So let's get into tonight's episode then. Are asexuals more sexually liberated than sexuals? Now, this is a big question. So, what do you think? So, in my experience, I think if asexuals are, well, this is twofold, right? First of all, some asexuals are out about being asexual, right? And some asexuals aren't. So first of all, the people that are out about being asexual, they're sexually liberated in the fact that they can discuss their sexuality, which is asexuality, with anyone and everyone, or with those people they choose to just share it with, and they're kind of free. You know, they don't have to pretend to be someone they're not, unless obviously they're kind of leading a double life. They're just telling a few people, but they're not totally coming out. So the people that are really out to the world, like me, for example, lots of other YouTubers, lots of people on social media, the ones that are completely out and out, kind of to anyone and everyone about their asexuality, I would say they are the most sexually liberated asexuals. Because, you know, they aren't afraid to say their sexuality is asexuality. And then obviously the people that tell a small group of people, but not everyone, they are more sexually liberated than those who don't tell people. Having said that, asexuals who come into contact with other asexuals through forums or groups, it's very sexually liberating when you find other asexuals like yourself, because once again, you can kind of like at least come out to some people in forums and groups. You can share your experiences. And in that way, it's very freeing and sexually liberating, because as well, some asexuals have had sex in the past, some haven't, some are still having it, some are indifferent to it. So there's kind of a very freedom and freeing experience. It's very cathartic when you start joining asexual groups, asexual communities, because you literally can kind of express your sexuality, which is asexuality, and all that that encompasses. Obviously, there's different groups for different types of asexuals. Thanks for thumbs up, love you lots. So some people are sex repulsed. So for the people that are sex repulsed, they might find it very liberating to talk about the disgust they have over sex, whether they've had it or not before, you know, the way it makes them cringe and feel and want to be sick. And, you know, like, it's really horrible for sex repulsed asexuals, right? It's like kind of gross. And then you might get those asexuals that are on the other end of the spectrum that do have certain kinks. Maybe they even participate in some BDSM type of stuff without the sex, and they can feel very sexually liberated if they're in a group that encourages them to come out about their asexuality in a way which can still encompass these kinks and things like that. I do know people that are sex repulsed. I do know some asexuals that do like BDSM stuff. I am personally sex repulsed for me, and I don't get involved with any BDSM stuff for myself because I'm not interested in it personally. I don't like that, you know. So there's kind of different people, but I think in general that yes, asexuals are very much more sexually liberated than sexuals, because we are usually a lot more informed about sexuality as time goes on through our asexual journey. We're much more in tune with our own sexuality, again, as we progress through our own asexual journey. I mean, obviously, when you first found out you're asexual, it might be quite confusing to you. You still don't know where you fall on the asexual spectrum. You're kind of work yourself out as to where you actually are with it. So that can be a bit confusing. But overall, as you progress through your asexual journey, through, you know, knowing yourself better and better as time goes on, I think it's very, very sexually liberating and sexually freeing, because no longer are you having to be chained to the traditions and customs of society and to the conditioning that everyone is led to believe that heterosexuality is the sexuality that everyone should be, which we know isn't true. But that's why society still conditions us predominantly to be heterosexual, to have like male female sexual relationships. It's still very, very prominent. And so when you find you're asexual, the more you dive into all the nuances and quirkiness and individuality within the spectrum of asexuality, the more freeing and liberating it is, because you finally feel that you can be yourself. You're around people that understand you, accept you for who you are. And there's so many different variations of different types of asexuals, and if you compare that to sexuals mostly are very kind of like like black and white, in the sense they like sex or they don't like sex. They don't really go into the amount of depth that asexuals do with their sexuality. A lot of sexuals just tend to like be kind of like let's go and have sex type of thing, thanks for the thumbs up. And it's kind of like not very exploratory of their own sexuality, their own feelings. There might be some guys that make out they're into girls, but really they like guys as well, and they're too afraid to say, because again they've given themselves this heterosexual label. There might be guys that maybe don't like sex that much, but they're just like kind of afraid to say so. There might there's guys, there's women obviously in any gender. I refer to guys a lot because I'm hetero-romantic, so you have to understand that these can apply to any gender. It's just the way I speak, because when I think of attraction and think of relationships or sexuality, I'm predominantly thinking about guys because I'm only attracted to guys, but obviously it can be any gender. So when I like some people who are sexual, they don't really explore their sexuality. They don't really explore the differences, nuances. When you're in the asexual community, especially when you're looking for an asexual relationship, you begin to realize how very different people are. How one person can not like be touched in certain places, another person could love that. How one person may only one person might like a lot of touching, the other person might like to give touching but not receive it. You might find someone who's completely touch adverse, whereas the other people, they want the hands all over the body, they just don't want the intercourse. So you see how people who are asexual, we dive so much more into the differences of our sexuality, and I think in that way it's very freeing, it's very liberating, rather than sexuals who talk about sex in a more sensationalized way without actually exploring their own sexuality. It's very much sex is kind of like you put a uniform that it's like a uniform you've got on, and everyone's kind of a robot talking about sex in the same way. Whereas when you come into the asexual community, everyone's talking about it in a slightly different way. Everyone's got their own unique perspective that is not robotic, like a lot of the sexuals, when they talk about sex, seem to have this robotic kind of stance. It's always sort of the same sort of thing, and it does get very repetitive. So I personally think that asexuality is very, very sexually liberating. I think it's very freeing. I think once you get to explore your own asexuality, once you're more comfortable with going into the depths of it, your types of attractions you have. I know quite a lot of asexuals, they feel they are attracted to a certain gender and then they change. So they're attracted to another gender more than the first gender they were attracted to. Or, people have gone from being bi romantic to just being like homo romantic. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like really, really different, I feel. And I think that's very, very freeing, because asexuals can get criticized a lot for, not being sexually free enough. When in actual fact, I think we are the ones that have the freedom in that way. We're the ones that have the power of our own lives, of our own sexuality, because we are, ourselves more. Whereas a lot of sexuals, I think they only see kind of like the mask of sex, the mask of sexuality. They don't really get into the nitty-gritty of who they are. And personally, I find it very freeing and liberating. It also poses some difficulties sometimes, you know, when you can feel like you're so different within the asexual spectrum. So I feel like I'm so different sometimes, and other times I feel like you know, like I'm really very similar, you know. I mean, I am very similar to a lot of other asexuals in a lot of ways, but I've got these really nuances and really differences that are very striking. But you know, I feel like the more I delve into those differences, the more I can appreciate and respect my own sexuality, and the more I can be more confident in my own sexuality and all its nuances and its differentiation, you know? So I think that's very freeing. Now, you might have remembered if you watched my last stream that I'm actually in a group which is not for asexuals. 100% beef. Here's a counter argument. I agree, but sexual find love easily, though. Do they find love? Or is it sexual attraction they find? Do they find love? Because it depends what and how you define love. If you take the sex away, can they still love without sex? I think asexuals, personally, I think asexuals love more purely. I think it's easier for sexuals to find a relationship. I would agree with you on that. But that's not to do with a sexual liberation. A sexual liberation is feeling free within your own sexuality and feeling liberated that you can finally be yourself and who you truly are. So liberation means freeing. Exactly. You know, I think they find it easier to get into relationships, you know, but they have a lot of problems as well finding the right person for them. And, you know, love, I personally think asexual love is a purer form of love. I think I feel from my experience of being in heterosexual relationships from half my life, over half my life, that it's more of a kind of artificial love a lot of the time. This is not true obviously for every relationship, but I do feel in general that it's can't go as deep. There's something missing that it can't go as deep as it needs to be, whereas I feel asexual love can go a lot deeper. I think it's harder for us to find relationship and for us to find the right person. I totally agree with that, but that wasn't actually what the video is meant to be about. It's meant to be, are we freer in our sexuality than sexuals? And I think in general we are. However, obviously the people that aren't out about being asexual, they could feel very repressed because they feel that they can't be themselves, they can't show their asexuality because they're too fearful for whatever reason of coming out as asexual. So therefore they're kind of repressed in that way. Sorry, I just saw asking a question. Go on. So, you know, I think that the asexuals, you know, who are oh, you answered it. Oh, thank you. I think asexuals that, you know, like I said, that aren't out about being asexual, I think they can find it very repressive living in this highly sexualized society and world. I think, you know, that's very difficult for asexuals. I think, you know, it's very hard. But like I said, for those people even that aren't out necessarily to people who in kind of like their vicinity, their family, their friends, they might still be in online groups and forums. And I think within those online groups and forums, when they talk and they discuss and they find out about themselves, I still feel that is sexually free and liberating, because you can understand that there are people like you then, and that is very, very freeing because you're so different to the majority of the society. So I think in that sense we're more sexually liberated, because a lot of asexuals get criticized, oh, you're sexually repressed, but they mean that in a bad way. They mean you're sexually repressed and that's why you're asexual, because you're holding yourself back, because it's you're you know you're pulling yourself back, you're making yourself not want sex, which simply isn't true. That's why I wanted to make this video and actually say I believe overall that asexuals are less sexually repressed than sexuals, because we can explore our sexuality with education and looking at it from a more informative point of view and a more kind of like methodical, clinical point of view, in the sense of, like, sex isn't the thing that we're crazy over, so we can see our reaction to it with more clearer mind. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's freeing coming out and not having to be forced to live how I wanted, how you didn't want. Yeah, that's what I mean. 100% beef. It's really good to come out and be freeing for who you really are, And I do think, like, I just wanted to put it out there, because I do get very sick and tired when I hear people going, oh, asexuals are just repressed sexuals, like, it's like, no, I actually believe overall we're more free and liberated than the sexuals, because the sexuals just seem to want to conform and go along the choo-choo train. That they don't even seem to be able to accept that we live in the 21st century now, that there's more sexualities than heterosexuality. There's been like homosexuality, bisexuality, pansexuality, for a long, long time now, and just like it's asexuality, and some people like that are in the dating groups, they're not even realizing that part of the problem with their dating is they just think probably for example, every woman probably thinks every guy just wants a woman, and every guy just thinks, that the woman wants a guy. That is actually a big problem with their dating that they don't even realize, because unless sexuals accept there's people outside of their own sexual orientation, they could be like messaging certain people for a long, long time, not realizing they're not even attracted to them. So a guy could be messaging a woman for ages when the woman's really a lesbian. Do you know what I mean? So they should be considering things like this, instead of being horrible to people that are different to them. They should be accepting, because only when they accept other people are they going to help themselves. I heard there's scientific facts proving asexuality. Oh, right, okay. I mean, I don't personally worry about if there's facts or not, because at the end of the day, I know asexuality is real. I'm asexual. I 100% know that. So, and I don't, really see why asexuals should have to prove their sexual orientation unless heterosexuals do. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, prove that heterosexuality is what people should be. Like, because why should people be heterosexual? Scientifically prove that's the sexuality people should be. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why do asexuals have to prove their existence through science? What about heterosexuals? I mean, yeah, sure, man and woman has sex for baby, but what procreate, but that's not about attraction. That's just about creating life. Do you know what I mean? It's not about compatibility for relationships. That's biological function and need. Do you know what I mean? It's like, like, I think if they want to get with scientific about, some people love scientific stuff about asexuality. I don't even go and look at stuff like that, because I don't need to prove who I am. I know who I am, and if you're gonna, not you personally, but if people are gonna go down that route with asexuality, they need to go down it with every sexuality. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, sex and love are different, but can go together. Exactly, Exactly. I mean, I'm an asexual person. I have had sex in the past, but I feel that, asexuals speak a lot more freely, for example, on asexual dating sites, in groups, forums. They speak a lot more freely about sex in a more constructive manner. When I'm in dating groups that aren't for asexuals, which I am in some on Facebook, a lot of the talk with sexuals is like, which person would you want to FC UK? Like, like, oh, what do you think of this person posting this? Would you go out to dinner with them? Would you FC UK them? Would you have a drink with them? Would you invite them around your house? And it's just like, how is this, like, actually gonna form a relationship? It's very much based on attraction. We constantly don't have to get sex fix. Yeah, exactly. They're constantly having to get sex fixes, even in their posts. You know, it's just very, the whole thing's very sexual. Whereas, you know, like when we look for a relationship, we look for compatibility on hobbies, on interests, on long-term goals, or this is what we should be doing if we're not already doing it. If some people don't know how to do dating, they should be looking for, you know, like, as especially as an asexual, we need to look at all the other things as well as the physical stuff. Whereas a lot of sexuals, a lot of it's more about physical stuff. Do you know what I mean? Or it's all geared towards a sexual slant a lot of the time. But I joined, you know, I was in this sexual dating group that I knew one on Facebook, not new to Facebook, but new to me. And there were some people being horrible to me in there. So, you know, I told you I had some people sticking up for me. The admins have been really good. They've actually posted that, you know, that everyone's welcome, whatever sexuality they are in this group, and they will not tolerate bullying. So if people don't like it, either don't bother commenting or leave the group, which I think's nice. So, you know, I've got support from the admin in this group for dating, which isn't for asexuals, but these admins have stepped up to the plate and actually got rid of a lot of the people that were being horrible to me in there because of my asexuality. So I think good on them. I'm very happy about that. You know, but you know, there's still some people that are not so good, you know. But this guy was really good in it. This guy said, "Why do people have to be rude? I think this woman is very brave and she's got bigger balls than most you all. I hope you find what you're looking for." So yeah, this guy actually stuck up to me and said I got bigger balls than a lot of the people criticizing me. So that was funny, because I have got a lot of bigger balls, not literally, but than a lot of guys. Do you know what I mean? Because at least I have the braveness to do it. But then this woman decided to say, yeah, she probably has, ha ha, meaning yeah, I'm a man or something. Do you know what I mean? 100%, yeah. You're just being yourself. Exactly. So yeah, so this guy, I said to this guy, thank you very much. Correct. Figuratively speaking, I was born female and am female, but often man up more than many guys I know. I put to others, this is not in an asexual group, this is in a sexual group. I said to others, I say man up and be your true, authentic self, not what society has conditioned us to believe is what you should or need to be. Yeah, not what society has conditioned us to believe is what you should or need to be. However, and I put, however horrible people choose to be or not, I love who I am, and I love the fact I don't like, want, or need sex in order to love and be loved or to have a relationship, you know? So then there was someone that said, I wish I didn't like sex in a way. It's funny. Facts, 100%. Exactly, 100% boo. Exactly, you know. There's one part, there's some people being nice. So like this person says, fair enough. Sometimes just enjoying a conversation, not having the sexual implications with it is sound. If you would like to chat, let me know. But they're not my type of person, and I don't think they completely get it. It's not just sometimes. I enjoy having conversation with not having the sexual implications. It's like all the time. I like chatting and not having the sexual implications. Do you know what I mean? Because some people, they just think, I've even seen a comment saying, oh, maybe she's just saving herself for the right guy. It's like, no, I don't ever want sex. Do you know what I mean? So they can actually misunderstand. 100% beef. I get to have a bunch of friends that are girls and people are chill because I'm ace. Oh, you get to have a bunch of friends that are girls, and oh, that's really good. That's really good. I mean, being a hyper romantic myself, I can't just be friends a lot of the time with guys because I just fancy them most of the time. I mean, I've noticed I tend to mostly only be friends with guys that I'm really attracted to aesthetically most of the time, or romantically, particularly aesthetically. Oh my lord. It's like, what am I like? I kind of started realizing that. I think it was last year. I'm like, it might have even been the year before. I'm like, Sandra, yep, most of the guys that you actually hang out with are attracted to you in some ways. No, it's still hard not dating them. Oh, bless you. Oh, that must be difficult. Yeah, I find that it's too painful a lot of the time. I've got, I can't. It's kind of weird, but I can't be friends with too many people because it's just too upsetting for me. Like close friends I'm talking about. I only have I can be friends with people, but like close friends, it's just a bit much. But even some guys, like I can like them without even knowing them very much. Do you know what I mean? Like I haven't known them very long, and I can have feelings for them because I don't experience any platonic attraction whatsoever. So it just jumps from hi, I've just met you to I feel romance over you, or like highly aesthetically attracted to you. It's a bit of a nightmare, but I've got used to it. I have to accept it. I've got better as in controlling my feelings, but it's very difficult when I don't try and control, like not wanting sex, because I don't want sex, but trying to control being a hyper romantic is very difficult sometimes. 100% beef. I'm the only openly ace in my town or even the area that I'm aware of. Oh, I don't. Oh, yeah, you're not on Facebook anymore, are you? So I wouldn't know. I'm still shaky on all the different attractions. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I'm really busy at the moment, so I haven't got all the I can't, I said the attractions in a video for you the other day, but I know at some point I need to put them in a separate video, but I've just swamped. I'm behind with my work at the moment. I just got this keyboard actually yesterday. It's a replacement for my other one because my other one, the keys decided to break on it. It's my fault. I spilt water, but I didn't spill. I spilt water. This is a replica of my other one, but it's in better condition than my other one. But I spilt water this side, but this side stopped working, and so from key 7 all the way here stopped working. All these stopped working. This down here stopped working, but this is my new one I got yesterday. Well, I say new. The lady looked after it. It's pre-loved. And then my dad bought this mouse today, so I have a mouse now that works much better. So at the moment, I'm just mega busy, like mega busy. Look, this is my old mouse. I've just taped up. Oh man. So yeah, no problem. Whenever you want to do it or not, I can research myself. Dang, I love the keyboard. I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah. I mean, I've got my keyboard here down in the cupboard, but I do feel like that over things as well. I actually feel like it's sad. It's like my Mac, which you are being filmed on now, is a 2009 edition. And so I had to get exact replica keyboard. This is a 2009 keyboard. Luckily, it's been looked after so well. This is my new one. And Sam and Richard's channel donations paid for this month. So without channel donations, I wouldn't have had the money. Yeah, 2009. I'm too young for that, I know. But yeah, it's a 2009 edition. Yeah, I was on the phone to Apple Store for an hour and a half the other day because this is what I film on. This is what I use for my editing as well when I do edited videos and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, actually, you're unlikely to find a video with all those attractions I mentioned because it's me who actually talks about attractions that no one else has heard of before. It's like clothes attraction. I don't know if I actually made that up myself or if it was just actually a real thing for other people to. I mean, other people do experience it, but I don't know if anyone actually said it before I did. I've actually got individual videos as well. If you look back through my channel videos, because they go back in 2015, I've actually got what is clothes attraction, what is sensual attraction. I've got I think I've got what does a romantic attraction feel like. I've actually got separate videos on there. Respect the elder keyboard. Yeah, I was really sad to like my mouse. I'm like, I love my mouse. But I had to tape it up again yesterday, so it was probably because it's got broken wire here, so it's probably going to go very soon. So yes, I love my mouse. Yeah, I've got a lot of videos about different types of attraction, but they're like a video separately for different ones. So rather than all together. But it's just like next month's Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. This is when we talk about topics out of this book. Every year I do a whole month of topics out of here. It's a very interesting month. APAM, hashtag APAM on social media. But yeah, I've got like a full, oh man, I've got a full week. I am behind at the moment. I done quite a bit today, but I was getting a bit overwhelmed. I had a few health issues as well. Yeah, let's go. So yeah, it's mega busy time. But yeah, so I just wanted people to know that I personally feel that, you know, like I don't like the fact that a lot of, you know, asexuals are accused of being sexually repressed when we're not. You know, I actually think asexuals are more sexually liberated than a lot of people. And it's just so annoying when they say silly stuff like that, you know. It's like, you're not asexual because you're sexually repressed. You're probably likely have been a lot sexually repressed in your life because you haven't been free to be the sexuality you truly are. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a huge misconception. It's a huge misconception. And actually in this group, there's a person I've met that's trans in there. I'm not going to reveal who they are because it's secret. They don't want people to know. But I've met a trans guy in there, and they seem really nice. So that's good. That's really nice in that dating group that isn't for asexuals. So that's really nice thing, you know. So I think, you know, there's bound to be some asexuals somewhere as well lurking in some of these groups, you know, who just don't realise they're asexual. Because obviously with asexuals like being 1% of the population and still a lot of people not out about it, they're bound to happen to be in groups as well. So yeah. But yeah, I just get so fed up with people saying people are like asexual because they've had trauma, or because there's something wrong with their hormones, or because they haven't found the right person yet, or because they're sexually repressed. It's like, no, asexuality is a valid sexual orientation. It's genuine, it's real, it is an actual sexual orientation. Just accept it. I would date a sexual that understands. Yeah, I mean, I've dated sexuals, and I haven't had sex, but dating's very different to actually being in a relationship. You know, dating is normally for a couple of months, maybe 3 months, but it's not, you know, it's not really, dating's not the same as actually being in a relationship. And some sexuals, they say they understand and they don't. Like, I'd had a date with one guy, and he later on said he actually was assaulted me because he tried to kiss me when I told him I didn't want to, and grabbed hold of my wrists. It wasn't very good. But then he said later on that he didn't believe me, even though I showed him my book on Amazon. He said, I didn't believe you. I thought you just made it up. I thought you were just saying it. You know, it's like, what? So if you do, yeah. So you need to understand there are some sexuals that will say they understand asexuality, but, you know, they can't ever truly understand it because they're not asexual. And, you know, some of them lie. A lot of the people, like, it's when I go night clubbing, I'm like, I'm not interested in sex. Oh, I don't like sex either. You know, if I say I don't like sex, it's like, it's just lies. You know, not everyone is. There are a few sexuals that can be without sex. Like, there's someone in my Asexual Perspectives book that's in a relationship with a bisexual, and the bisexual doesn't care that they're not having sex. So there are a few sexuals that don't mind not having sex. You're welcome for the advice. It's just be very careful, because there are a lot of sexuals that say, oh yeah, I understand, and then further down the line they'll try and push you into having sex, you know, or they'll be cheating on you. You know, I'm not saying every sexual is like this, but there's a lot that are, you know. My friend Sam, it's a shame they're not on tonight, because they said that, you know, there was a guy that they were seeing, you know, like, but then, you know, they turned out, you know, they stopped communicating with Sam because Sam didn't have sex with them, even though they said they understood, and they you know, they started basically a relationship with them. knowing full well they didn't want sex. They still thought they changed their mind. You know what I mean? It's just sad, you know. I don't think people should be going after people for what people might or might not change into. They should be going out for the person for who they are. And if the person says they don't want sex, you know, if you want sex, just walk away. Go and find someone who wants it equally as much as you do. Therefore, you know, you can be happy and asexuals can stop getting their heart broken. Because it's not nice. You know, it's not nice. I mean, I hope to eventually find an asexual guy for me. But it's hard, you know. There's guys that live near me, but none of them are suitable for a relationship with me. Yeah, I sometimes I feel that I would have been with a few girls if I was sexual. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can easily get a sexual guy for a relationship. It's absolutely no problem. A younger guy, type of guy I want in terms of asex, you know, younger foreign guy, Indian, Bangladesh, Middle Eastern, whatever. Oh, you got to go? Yeah, I'll be going soon anyway. So have a nice night. But I just can't do that, you know. I have to be true to who I am. Anyway, yeah, I think I'll conclude the video there. Thank you very much for 100% Beef for being in the chat tonight. Thank you everyone else who's been watching. Always be your true, authentic self. And you're very welcome for the chat. And always be your true, authentic self. And, you know, live your own life and be free and liberated in your own asexuality. Until next time, brace your quirky and each other. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit that great big bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. Take care. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks 100% Beef. Thanks to everyone else. Lots of love. Thanks for the thumbs up. Bye.